So is climate change even causing the unprecedented heat wave, let alone the energy crisis or the energy shortage that's causing a crisis in California? According to Michael Schellenberger, who did an analysis of the report from U.S. Global Research Program, the answer to that is no. There's no indication of that. You can see this graph on the screen right now. If you look at the left-hand side, you'll see the trajectory of both heat wave frequency, and on the right, you will see heat wave magnitude. Now, what do we see here? Do we see a line that in general is increasing, very low at the left-hand side of the page, very high on the right-hand side of the page? No, we don't. Do we see the reverse? Do we see it very high on the left-hand side? Do we see it very low on the right-hand side? We do not. So how we read these charts is simply, okay, there's a little bit of natural variation, but overall, the trajectory, if you took the average of each data point on the left-hand side of the page, for example, you would get a fairly straight line across, meaning there's no indication that heat waves are more frequent in the United States or that their magnitude, that their severity is, well, worse, more severe. So when the left tells us that this unprecedented heat wave is caused by climate change, that's not scientific. It's anti-science, actually. It's rejecting what the data, what the numbers, what the temperature measurements, what the history tells us. The left is making that up. They're making that up to cause fear in your hearts. They're also making that up to manipulate you and to get more control so that they can take more control from you, give it to the government, and thus live as the elite ruling class. But there is no indication that climate change is causing the unprecedented heat wave. But what there is indication of is that energy prices, not just here in the United States, but around the world, are skyrocketing. And a good comparison when looking at where the United States is with green energy, with alternative energy, is to look to Europe, because Europe is a little bit further along in their process of transitioning to green energy. So the problems that Europe is experiencing, we here in the United States can expect to experience those same problems if we don't course correct right now. So look at this chart that's on the screen right now. What does this show? These are Europe's energy costs over the last year. Now, this chart, as you can plainly see, does have a very significant upward trajectory from the left-hand side of the page to the right-hand side of the page. In fact, in the space of 1 year, energy costs in Europe have increased by some 200%, 300%, and in some places even 400%. That means some places in Europe, your energy bills have doubled, tripled, or quadrupled on a monthly basis just to power your home and cook your food and keep your family warm in the winter and cool in the summer. This is the reality of the thing. This is why politicians like Gavin Newsom pretend that the quote-unquote unprecedented heat wave is caused by climate change so that they can deflect responsibility for being the ones who have caused this shortage of energy that will ultimately lead to skyrocketing energy prices. We are on the cusp of that in the United States. If we, the people, don't stand up and say stop,